you're synonymous with Madison Square Garden, which, you know, the most famous arena in the world, and you've, you know, sold out the Garden 187 times. When was the last time you were at the Garden?
You know, gosh, you know, when I retired, officially retired in 1982, I had made the last appearance then. But then when I came back as a color commentator in, I believe it was September of 1984, and I stayed with doing color commentating for the following, let's see, I think till 1988. I was asked to put on the tights, which I wasn't thrilled to do, believe me when I tell you. But my son was in the business then too, and so I agreed. And so I appeared in the Garden a number of times. Maybe I like to think it was only maybe 3 or 4 times, somewhere around there. Then that was 1988 was the last, 87 or 88 was the last time I ever appeared there.
Oh, so you haven't been there? Have you been as just as a spectator or anything since? No,
I have not been in the Garden. At least 25, 26 years, I have not been in the Garden at all.
Oh, wow. And this May, it'll be the 50th anniversary of you defeating Buddy Rogers at the Garden for the WWWF title in 48 seconds. Now, there's always been a lot of stories about that match, and the story is that Rogers didn't want to lose to you, and that you basically told him in the ring that he was going to go down that night. Was that how it happened?
Just about. Just about, yeah, that's how it happened.
Yeah, and was there, and what was Rogers' reaction after the match?
Well, we I don't want to say bitter enemies, but we didn't like each other very much before, you know, ever. And afterwards, it was obviously bad feelings, very bad feelings. We never spoke again, you know. Never spoke again for many, many years until, I don't know if you remember, Georgiana Makakopoulos.
Right.
She used to write for, you know, she used to write a lot of wrestling stuff and that. And there was a convention one time in New York where they invited some wrestlers yesteryear, where we signed autographs and so forth. And I didn't even know it at the time, and I don't think Buddy even knew it at the time, but we both were booked there. So we, of course, did not speak or anything, but Georgiana went to him and then came to me and says, please, it's been all these years, can we bury the hatchet more or less and take a picture together? And I'll be between the two of you, because she had been president of a fan club, the president of Rogers' fan club, and then she became the president of my fan club sometimes later. And so I told her, I said, look, I don't want to keep holding grudges. If he's willing, I said, then fine. And it was funny because we both, Georgiana went and got him, got me, and she stood in the middle. We took the picture, but we never spoke a word to each other.
Wow. Well, that's amazing. And I know you've had so many great moments in the Garden.
Indeed.
If you could pick one moment that's been your favorite, or one match, is that even possible?
Well, it is kind of impossible, but as far as, you know, meaning what meant the most to me, you know, it was no doubt that night with Rogers, because that made me the number one guy. You know, I was going to be the headliner after that, you know, and so that was the big break, if you will. But of course, a lot of wonderful things happened in the Garden. It was in Madison Square Garden, for example, that I picked. I was the only guy when he was legitimately well over 600 pounds picking up Calhoun. I mean, I remember that night especially. I thought the roof of the building was going to pop off the way the people went absolutely crazy. You know, it was in the Garden. You know, so many different things. I held that title for almost 8 years the first time, and then I lost it in the Garden. But I came back and took it again for another 4 years, and also I had a terrible thing happen to me there when I broke my neck in 1976. I came within a millimeter of being paralyzed from the neck down. But Garden was a lot more than that as far as these wonderful memories. It's how much they contributed to my career, because you see, as you said, the Garden was the most famous arena in the world. There are arenas throughout the United States here that are bigger and I don't know, maybe even more beautiful. I haven't seen all the new arenas, but you go anywhere around the world and nobody will know about any of them. But you mentioned Madison Square Garden, and everybody knows the Garden. Everybody. So if you headline the Garden, you automatically were a headliner in other parts of the world that you went to. And so, you know, by headlining the Garden as many times as I did, because of the publicity you got from Madison Square Garden, you know, I went to Japan, the Australias, the South Americas, the Philippines. Anywhere I went, I was really well known, and I was strictly brought in as the headliner because, you know, of the publicity that I got out of Madison Square Garden. So the Garden did an awful lot for me.
Yeah, yeah.